Welcome our next comic out here. Come on, Joleen.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want, 'cause your heart's made of gold, but don't wait till you're old.
Hello, my little pumpkin spice babies. Happy Saturday. I am back again with another lunch break, hot topics roast. That's what we're talking about. I'm still missing a nail. If you are wondering what's going on with her fingers, that's what's going on. Thought I would hop on and give you guys a little hot topic. So welcome. Make sure you smash that like as you are joining live. Let me know you're here in the chat. Give me all your thoughts, hopes, opinions, and dreams. Let's set a light goal of during this live. Let's try to get to, it's Saturday. It's an impromptu live. Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100. I just put this up. I didn't give you guys any warning because surprise, that's what we're doing now. But I kind of like these little lunchtime lives where we can just talk about things that are trending and we can talk about television show stuff. And I have yet to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Erica Jane and all the craziness going on with the reunion since Nana is on vacation, but she'll be back next Friday for Married to Bravo. So I thought I'd just get on here and chat with you guys, get a little update, and then we'll move along with our day. But make sure you smash the like. If you do want to support the channel, liking is a great way to do it. You can also support me on Patreon, patreon.com/Joleen Lunzer, or you can send a super chat during the live. Okay. Otherwise, just liking the channel is awesome. We do have a YouTube membership too. We just have one tier right now. So hello, lean team. Yes, 100 likes, mods. Keep me up to date. I know everyone is missing me and Nana. I put a little picture up in my community tab of Nana at Graceland. She is loving her vacation. Again, she's seeing all her favorite dead people. That's where she's going. She's visiting all her favorite dead people. So that's what she's doing. And she should be home Monday, I think. And she'll have so many stories to tell you guys. And we'll be back with 90 Day with Nana. And we'll be back with Married to Bravo. Hello. Welcome. All right. Yesterday we talked about You season 3 and how I actually liked it. And Scott Speedman is totally giving everybody lady boners. He just gets better. He gets better. And Jelly Donut says, I just started watching You season 1, episode 1. It's so, the first season is like, wow. Second season, good. And I liked the third season. I did. I really did. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Okay. So, lots of stuff happening. Let's open up this, my bubbly for you guys. A little ASMR. Pretty good, even without Busy Blue. Shout out to Busy Blue, you guys. Yes, and like hello, they were saying, give me those Joleen vlog subs. I think we're almost up to 1,000, which is pretty good. I do have to get my watch hours up, but yeah, hitting 1,000 is a big deal. So yes, daytime lives. I'm trying something new. I'm seeing if I like it. Me and Hype, my husband Chell, have plans this afternoon to go on the tram here. So I won't be able to stay super long, you guys, but definitely wanted to catch up. Let me know what you guys have been catching up on. But I haven't given you any updates on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And we've had parts 1 and parts 2 of the reunion. It's a 4-parter because that's how Cuckoo Bananas this season has been. And let me just pull up some screenshots I have here of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's bananas, and we're getting a lot of Erica Jane, obviously a lot of Erica excuses, Andy Cohen questioning things about Erica. Dorit decided, if you guys haven't checked out my impression videos, check those out. Dorit decided that she was going to just yell at Garcelle, stop. Like, she never yells at anybody, but she's yelling at Garcelle. It's weird. Dorit, she needs to be done now. I'm over her. Like, she has no storyline. It's not enough with your manufactured home and your manufactured dresses. Like, it's not enough of a storyline. Okay. And because you hire people of color, your children know and how to treat people. I don't even know what you're trying to say. I don't know what she was trying to say. She was basically saying she hires people of color. So I could never be racist. You know, this whole Real Housewives of Beverly Hills women, we don't see color. You see color. You go to the hairstylist and you say, make me blonder. You don't go, I don't know, I don't see color. Just make my hair whatever. Make it whatever. It's just like Garcelle tried to explain it to you. Garcelle is far more patient than I would be. I would say you see color. That's this old, you know, it's this old narrative that white people decided to grab up on. They decided to take little bits from MLK and, you know, I Have a Dream speeches and things like that, and the civil rights movement and pick and choose what worked for them. And it's like, if we're all just human and we're equal. And it's like that. And by saying, I don't see color, it's preposterous, and it's not doing anyone any favors. And it's also by saying that by seeing someone's color, somehow their color is negative, and it's not getting into the systemic issues that exist within race in America, the systemic, the structural. It's a far more complicated issue than these women are like, I don't see color. I don't see color. As you're telling us, the only people of color you know are people that work for you, Dorit. So do better, be better, read a book. That's what I always say. Just read a book. Just read a book. Read a book, not by a white lady, maybe a blonde white lady. Read a book. Okay. So we have a little bit of that talk, but we have a lot of Erica Jane. So let's just kind of break it down by housewife here. I'm trying to pull up my screen grab of Erica Jane and Andy. Oh my gosh. And she's just like, wait a minute. I didn't come here to get questioned, Andy. I didn't come here. Okay, my lawyer said I shouldn't do this show, but guess what? I fucking did it because I'm not a quitter. Okay, honey, I am not a quitter, honey. Like, that's her 24/7. I am not a quitter, honey. I am brave. I am strong. I am wearing this dynasty dress. Dynasty, honey. That is Erica Jane 24/7. Okay. So how dare you? How dare you, Andy? How dare you ask me this question? So let's talk finances. Erica Jane was asked about a myriad of things in these two parts of the reunion. Okay. And she has now admitted that she handed over all of her paychecks from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sorry if you can hear a little traffic. I have my screen door open. That she handed on all of her paychecks to Tom Girardi. Now, do I believe this? Maybe, for sure. There's parts of Erica's story that I'm like, yes, fine. I understand there's a serious power dynamic going on here and discrepancy. You have Tom Girardi, who is famous lawyer, Aaron Brockovich, powerful attorney. Granted, now he doesn't remember anything, but once upon a time, he remembered everything. Okay. Then you have Erica Jane, who marries him at 27, being a cocktail waitress. That we understand the power dynamics. You're going into it as a very transactional relationship. The transaction being you're young and attractive, and he is rich and old and can provide this lifestyle you're looking for. Okay. 27-year-old women don't marry elderly men, usually, who are broke. The same way 27-year-old men don't marry elderly men or women who are broke. It becomes a transactional relationship when it's that big of an age gap. So we have Erica Jane, you knew kind of what you knew you were getting into in that he's going to hold the power in this relationship, which sucks, which is why you couldn't pay me enough. I don't care. I would rather have to work. I'm not going to put myself in that kind of situation due to this sort of thing, because also, the money, is it dirty? You don't know yet. They seem to have gotten married relatively quickly when they met. And it's just it's weird. You always see these guys and they are powerful, and they're like, I fell in love with my waitress. And you're like, no, you fell in love with a young woman. Okay. You fell in love with someone that seemed to be subservient to you. And you want a woman that will be like, think the sun sets and rises, or sets. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah. Sun sets and rises to you and to your whim. You want someone to need you because your ego needs that, sir. Okay. So I understand she gave her checks over and all that stuff. But then the point is, if you were so destitute and you had no control over the money, how did you get the money to leave? And if it was never given to you, what changed? And you can't tell us that. So the only thing we see that changed is that Tom was about to go down in some serious legal stuff, and then you pulled out. And that is why people are questioning the shit out of you, because we understand that, yeah, you probably were in a marriage that was very inequitable, for sure. There's no, it's not going to be equal when he's bringing all of this in, money, and that's how he controls you. And then you kind of control him, with your youth and beauty. The only problem with that, it's never a good exchange, because youth and beauty fades. Money can fade too, but sometimes money's forever. Sometimes youth and beauty, never forever. It's not meant to be. It's fleeting. That's why it's never a good idea, to think like, I'm going to have this forever. You better. So I don't think Erica Jane is dumb at all. Do I think she probably had to hand over her stuff? For sure. Did she have to hand over her checks? For sure. But I also think she's smart enough to kind of, where are things going? How much money do I have? And have an out. She obviously had an exit plan, and that exit plan she was able to go through with. So if he's so controlling, it's hard, because the woman in me, the feminist in me, wants to be like, yes, this happens all the time to women. There are so many women out there who have no idea about their finances, because men, you guys, we're talking the ERA, we're talking equal rights. Like, this is new. This is relatively new, like 70s idea new. We're still dealing with the Equal Rights Amendment. We're still of women even being able to get a home loan without having a husband, sign for them. Being able to have, the stuff my grandmother had to go through, and then my mother, even a little bit, the fact that you needed a man to just co-sign everything for you. You weren't deemed responsible enough or equal enough as a woman to have these same financial rights as men. So yeah, the feminist in me wants to be like, this has been happening for a long time, with women not knowing about their finances and their money. And there's still women out there who can't leave shitty marriages and situations because they hold no power financially. And that's very scary. If you think about going out into the world and you have no financial power, and you have to think about retirement, and you have to think about medical bills down the road, because as we get older, all that stuff starts to add up. The problem here is, this is greed. This is hardcore greed. Okay. So, and this is also a decision you made to get into a relationship with an older, powerful man, knowing it was transactional for your youth and beauty. That's why he wanted you, and you wanted him for his money. Okay. Or maybe, also his, his reputation, and you thought that could take you places because you always wanted to be a star. I watched your TED Talk. All right. You always had this, this in you that you wanted. And it seemed like, just opinion based, you would do whatever it took to kind of get there. Okay. However, it's really hard. I know you want to push this narrative with, as a woman and all these things, but how was it so easy for you to then just pick up and leave? And where did that money come from? And how long had you been planning it? And why was it only when Tom's bad, when his, I want to say bad business, not bad business, when his crimes were coming out, when the fact that we were finding out, and people were starting to find out, that he was in fact spending money that was supposed to go to his clients. He was spending their money. It just doesn't add up. Tom was in the old school equal rights era, unfortunately. He was. And so he's definitely, Tom's the type that, he would totally be like, I mean, I can see him be, I handle the money. I could see not ask any questions, but Erica's smart and she learned some things along the way. And you can't tell me that she knew nothing and that she held no power. And when she said, I only have 2 credit cards, what am I going to do? Call you? And Andy's like, well, I know what you make. And that's, you know, it's pretty good. And that's what she said. She handed all the money over to Tom. But unfortunately, you know, you're out here spreading this story, but you're also, I mean, it's hard for me because she's tried to push so many stories out there. You know, at first he's great and fine and dandy Randy and he's the best husband, which, you know, women who are in bad relationships, women who are in possible abusive relationships, women, whether emotionally, physically, whatever, or getting cheated on, sometimes you just tell the lies you need to get through the day and you don't want everyone in your business. So most likely the relationship wasn't great. But Erica Jane, there's something that is just so greedy about this woman and Tom Girardi, obviously, but their lifestyle and all of that. So it's really hard to now paint yourself the victim. And also when, you know, your behavior on social media. So as much as you're hoping that we all have empathy for you and that we all kind of go, oh yeah, she was in this horrible marriage. It's a rough narrative to spin knowing what we know. And now with the dementia thing, oh, the dementia. So now it's being said, like, exactly. There's so much money that's being transferred. There's something just tells me and tells most people that she knows more than she's letting on. And you want to play on our hearts and our sympathies, but we're more concerned about why the money isn't going where it needs to go, which is to Tom's clients and the victims of horrific accidents and their families. That's what we're concerned about. You at this point, I know you have this persona, you have 2 sides, the Erica Jane, the Erica Girardi, and you are a pop star and you're doing the expensive to be me, but it is expensive to be you because you showed us you're like, oh, we can't go buy a pop song, you know, it's for art, but we're also going by what you show us on a TV show. Yeah, it's a TV show, but you're still telling us what you spend on glam a month, about your private jets. And when you watch The Housewife and The Hustler, a lot of lawyers and colleagues of Tom were thinking, this is bad to be on here doing the work he does and to have his wife bragging about private jets and bringing her glam team everywhere. That's a really bad look. Okay. I want to see what you guys are saying. Catherine saying, I think that she knew and gave some money to a friend to stack away. These rich people, they make moves. You don't stay with someone this long without, if she was able to talk to a lawyer friend about Tom now, why couldn't she before? What makes us think that she didn't already do this before regarding her finances and things? This is a savvy woman. This isn't some Teresa Giudice. Again, to compare it, Teresa Giudice, no, not here. Also, Mazel, she's allegedly engaged. No, she is engaged to that guy who looks creepy. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. He looks like he's got some slimy stuff going on and whatever. I don't know what he's got going on, but she's got a type. Let's just say that. Okay. Now, Teresa Giudice, I really think she's greedy. She's greedy, but I don't think she has the capacity to know what she was doing. You hear her speak and you're like, there's something missing there. You know what I mean? Erica Jane, that's a whole different beast. She is very, very smart, very savvy. So it's really hard for me to think she didn't have some kind of outro plan. Okay, planning her exit for a while. All right, what else are you guys saying? She said it in her first season in her confessional. She's been broke and basically won't go. Yeah, she's like, I've been rich, I've been broke, and baby, let me tell you, rich is better. Okay. Man, let me tell you, being rich is so much better. We've heard her say that. Okay. We have definitely heard her say that. Smart and calculating. Yes. What else are you guys saying? It wasn't that long ago that Hillary Rodham had to ask or had to tack on Clinton to her name, lest Bill lose his election. Yeah, because they're like, wait a minute, she can't just have her maiden name. She better have your name. I mean, we're still dealing. So Erica's trying to play on all this like sexism and all this stuff and trying to basically tear at the heartstrings of us feminists. But we're like, whoa, wait a minute. You can't just pull us in when you need us. You can't lie to us. Okay. Yeah. And these lawsuits aren't new. They're not new. They're not Erica Jane new. These are lawsuits and things that allegedly Tom has been doing for 40 years of his career. So even before she came around. And lawsuits, as we see in this reunion, we see that this was talked about on previous reunions about Tom being sued and things like that. Okay. Evelyn saying if she found out Tom was having an affair years ago, the affair thing, oh my God, she would have started making financial plans to protect herself. Although it might be a lie Tom had an affair, as it's so hard to believe, I think. So she's like, oh my God, honey, she was getting this lady send him pictures of her tits on his split phone. And I was like, nice tits, you stupid bitch. And Erica. Also, it's just like, I don't know if Tom was getting sent tits on the T9. I don't know. And like she said, it's hard to text on those T9s. Where's this? How do you put a space so it was one big long run on of nice say just stupid bit? Like it's just a long run on sentence about this lady's tits. Okay. Who knows? Tom, maybe his law partners encouraged her to be on, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills so that she can be entangled in this mess. And that way she wouldn't take the fall alone. Encouraged. Catherine, good point. This is like, there's so much to speculate on because at this point, the real stuff we want to know, she can't answer. She's like, she thinks she's a hero. That's the problem with this woman is she really thinks what she's doing is heroic. And it's in fact not heroic. Okay. It would be heroic if she did any kind of gesture. And I do understand that her lawyers are probably like, don't, because that could be an admission of guilt. But just look how it would look to be like, I am completely innocent of this. I had no idea. Had I known my husband was stealing money from his clients who are the victims of these horrific crashes, accidents, and their families, I would have left long ago. I would have outed him. I know there is that, marital protection where she doesn't have to, but I would have done something. So if she would just for a second start, now that you're on your own, start some kind of fund to just be like, I want to help, or any kind of humility, any kind of empathy for them without bringing up herself or how she has her whole life left to live, that would help. And like I said, I don't know what her lawyers are telling her, but you would think what she's doing online is just like so stupid at this point. Trolling the trolls and stuff. I mean, that is, and the pictures and all that, that's worse. To me, that's a worse admission of guilt than being like, I am so sorry. And I have nothing to do with this. And I am going to try my best to do what I can do to make this right for people. Which she and her lawyers might think is an admission of guilt. But I would think just completely putting out cryptic Instagram posts and being, just acting so cavalier about it makes you look even more guilty. And the fact that you won't acknowledge the victim's real like pain and suffering makes you look guilty and heartless. It's just so much that she wants us to believe while she's still painting herself as the victim. She probably did not know he was stealing from clients, but she did know the tax fraud stuff. Got it. So there's a lot of things with these people with large amounts of money, very, very rich people. There's all the old sayings of, you really, somewhere along that you can find dirty money. There's a point where you can just have too much. And to get to that point, what did you have to do? Who did you have to step on? Who did you have to shit on? Who did you have to defraud? What did you have to do that? So I think she probably knew about, and she would be okay with, in my opinion, some of these bad practices and things, or maybe allegedly tax fraud. Who knows? This is all my opinion. I don't know. I don't know anything for fact. But I just think when you get to this point of greed changes everything. There seemed to be never enough. When you watch The Hustler and the Housewife, when you watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, when you just watch a lot of these housewives moves, some of them, it's never enough. It is never going to be enough. There's never enough money. And there has to be a point where there's enough money. But I think there's just this ongoing lie with capitalism in a lot of ways. Like, why can't you just have it all? And why can't you have all the money and F everybody else? And people fall victim to that. And there is a point where that's too much damn money. What are you going to do with all that? Why? They're like, it's my American right to have a house. Why do you have 22 extra bedrooms? Why do you want that? What were you doing to provide any kind of good or humanity in the world? What were you doing? What were you doing? How many $90,000 purses do you need? Maybe that's me talking as a broke bitch, but I mean, for real. What were you doing? If you know what it's like to come from an impoverished place, why can't you share the wealth a little bit? And I don't know. I didn't hear a lot about her philanthropy. I don't know. I didn't hear a lot about that. So maybe there is some stuff. And if there is, feel free to correct me. But I don't know. Okay. Bless you, Tilly. Tilly's got little sneezies. Yeah. Okay. Okay. By trolling online, she is not treating the situation with so many victims with enough. No, it's not. It is not. You, unfortunately, are a part of this now. Money was transferred to your business. Whether you knew about it or not, that's your business. You're supposed to know about it. You're supposed to sign these things. You're supposed to have, there's some knowledge that goes with that, So you're going to be in it. Susie, I believe nothing from Eric. At this point, she's not giving us a lot of credibility. No. Yes, they're trying to push that. They're trying to push that. Evelyn says, very wealthy people never having enough money equals ego deficiency. Using money to fill in inner, right? Because I feel like as a human being, there would be a point where I'd be like, this seems like a lot. This seems like a lot. Maybe I could, help someone here, do something there. Seems like a lot. And Erica was all, I get that's the notion of the show. But it just seemed too much. And a lot of these people, what we've seen in Housewives histories, a lot of these people who brag about it the most or talk about it the most or want it the most are the people who don't have it, or they're getting it through nefarious ways. Okay. Greed is very, very dangerous. Erica, is this Erica Jane? No, I'm just kidding. Says she has a couple million in purses, art, jewelry. Yes, bought for future sales money. Yep, all unwarranted use. Exactly. That's why I never understood. Take some of that and do something for these people. If you're never going to go to jail for this, and this is mostly you just being, having to go by the court of public opinion and getting sued, why wouldn't you make it a little better for yourself? Take some of these purses, take some of these paintings that are worth so much, and start a little fund for these people and help them. I don't see, again, I'm not super well versed on, the law or a lawyer, and maybe a lawyer. Hi, Jill. I am live.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're just talking about Erica Jane and her nefarious ways, but
allegedly.
She needs.
Not allegedly.
Hi, my husband Chell says she needs to go. But wouldn't you think that would show some good faith? Is there nothing to be said for that? Is there nothing to be said for at least being like, okay, I don't know. I just think anything would have been better than the way that she reacted. Her reactions. Okay. Yes. So the victims are not only broke. So this is like, if Erica Jane goes back to just being a 40K lady, she'll be fine. Okay. Cause she's still living off this show and she's still getting paid, what, $600,000 allegedly a season. She'll be fine. So she's not worried about really being impoverished. This woman's never going to be impoverished because she knows how to play the game, and she's already allegedly with another rich dude, possibly a Vegas type man, okay, who runs some shit. So she knows how to play the game. But like Leslie's saying, the victims of Tom are not only broke, but they're also suffering in some way. They're suffering due to losing family members. They're suffering due to being in accidents that caused effects on them, whether it be like burn victims, things like that, for the rest of their lives. And they need that money for rehabilitation and to live, and they're not able to work. This woman is fully capable to work, to do everything. So we just have such a hard time as fans feeling bad for her, because you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. These other people, you're able-bodied. You can go get stuff. Sure, you might be paying stuff off for a long time, but you're making quite a bit of money. And maybe this is the cost of ultimate greed. Maybe this is the cost of looking the other way. It's crazy. Danny says, this whole time Erica has been defensive, like kid caught in a lie, rather than someone who is completely innocent. Yes. I feel like the body behavior and vocal tones are completely contrary to innocence. Danny, fantastic point. Fantastic. When she's like, honey, okay, she literally is like, join the club. Join the club. I've been there. I've done that. I've had it done to me, honey. Okay, I've had it. You have had nothing so far. Nothing compared to what Tom's victims have had, to what the majority of Americans had to go through during the pandemic. You had nothing. You had to be alone in your mansion with your husband. You said you had dinner with every night, but then you said, JK, we don't even talk. Well, which one is it? The biggest thing Erica Jane is missing is a dining room table. And she probably got one by now, but that's this season. That's what I saw her missing. Because if her husband was that bad, that's no big loss. If he was that dismissive and didn't hug her, and if he didn't talk to her and he said she's expensive or whatever she's claiming now, that shouldn't be that big of a loss. And if you are 15, you do have your life ahead of you. She already got dick. She said it herself. She goes, honey, I got some dick. Andy said, did you cheat on Tom? And then she's like, well, I mean, I got dick after we got, filed for divorce. I find it very hard to believe this wasn't an open relationship. I mean, Kyle Richards knew. Bethany Frankel knew about the allegations and claims about Tom and Erica's money situation and possible relationship situation for a while, which means Kyle knew. So Kyle Richards knew. Now she's admitting a little bit of what she knew, but she's known even longer. Andy Cohen is known. But Tom is a very, powerful attorney, and had, if you do watch The Hustler and the Housewife, had a lot of these agencies on lock, whether it be the police, whether it be the DA, I'm just saying words here, but whether, it be the, law and order, law offices. He had this shit in Los Angeles and California on lock so that he could just get away with shit. Okay. Kathleen says, money, money, money. All that you need at the end of your life is a bed, a nightstand, and a lamp. Yeah. And it's important to marry people because you love them, because shit like this happens. At first, it's all fine and dandy. It's like, he's rich. I'm going to be great, honey. He's rich. But you should probably think about marrying for love. And that's why rich man, poor man, rich woman, poor woman, whoever your significant other, if you decide to get married, and you don't have to, because who cares nowadays, do what you want. But probably pick it for love and not for greed, because things like this happen. And at the end of the day, you want someone who's going to stand by your side, because it's in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad. This is some bad times. So technically, she stuck around for a lot of bad times, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. It sounds like this shit. Honey, I don't even know how many people he's cheated on me with. Honey, he hasn't given me a hug. Honey, he don't listen to me. Honey, he don't let me have my money. But this is the straw. The straw is when he finally can't get away with all these crimes. It's questionable. You should question everything. This is questionable. Thank you for the super chat, Kathleen. Thank you. Please do an Erica parody or voice I have. If you check on my channel, I have a couple Erica parodies I've been doing, and it would mean the world if you guys could give them some more views, because they take a long time to edit. Because I put her face over my face, and then I put on a wig, and then I edit it, and it's, it's expensive to be Erica, honey. Honey, okay, it's expensive. Yes. You guys are so smart in the chat. Graphics designer says, I think it was a business arrangement. There might have been some affection towards each other, but not love. But she painted it on the show that it was love. And for a minute, I was like, well, maybe, Joleen, maybe you're just being super judgmental. Maybe this old man and this young woman, they found love in a hopeless place, in an awkward place, in an old place. Maybe he's the Aaron Brockovich guy. Maybe. And then no, I should have just trusted my instincts. My gut always tells me like, it's weird. I lived in LA too long. You see this happen. You see all these men with money or power getting all this undeserved vagina. And this is just another situation like that. Thank you, Erica. Your parody is everything. I cannot stop watching the show and get my highlights from you guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for supporting that, because it is like I said, it takes so much longer than just hitting live. It takes so much more work to like edit and stuff. So it means the world when you guys watch it, because then you do all this editing and then it doesn't get views and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that again. Which is so shitty, but it's true. You're like, well, I don't want to work that hard if no one's going to watch it. Well, we'll just stop. But I do like doing my little Erica. Okay. So she says she never cheated, but she got dick. She said she never had control of her own money, but somehow she got out, but she said she did it in a total legal way. But she can't tell us that. And this is kind of what we're going forward with, Tom, we talk about Tom's dementia. Okay. So now we're on Tom's dementia, and she's like, honey, I mean, I had said, we talk about the car accidents. So now we have all these stories she's told us all season, all these stories of then Tom's car flipped. Okay. So honey, he was driving to Good Feet because he's got plantar fasciitis, and he was trying to get himself a nice pair of Birkenstocks for when he wears them to work sometimes. He's Tom MF and Girardi. He can wear Birkenstocks to the office, honey. Honey, okay? So he's driving to Good Feet. It starts hailing, snowing, and it's super hot. So it's like melting the snow, which turns into ice, super slippery. You don't know. It's way in the hills of Pasadena, okay? His car flips. He falls down a cliff, okay? In a canyon. He almost gets eaten by a bear, but he fights him off because he's Tom freaking Girardi. So the bear's like, okay, I'm not going to mess with Tom Girardi. So he escapes the bear. And then he goes unconscious because you fight a bear, you're going to go into fight or flight. He went into sleep. Okay. So he falls asleep 12 hours. I'm out there, damn, looking for him. Like, honey, show me where you're at. Okay. I had my Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton, whatever they're called on. And I'm walking, and I got Mikey because I pay him. And we're going. I'm like, Mikey, do you see him? Tom, where are you, Tom? You never made it to Good Feet. And I find him. I revive him. I bring him back. Okay. I carry him back to the house through the snow, through the sleet, through the heat of Pasadena. It's a magical place, honey. And then I notice he's missing his eye. So I pop his eye back in. I call 911. They want to do an eye replacement. I said, whoa, he might have a concussion. And I have done my research on TBI. Okay. So I call another powerful person I know who I've never contacted before, and I say, what should I do here? You're a surgeon. And they say, don't let him do it. So I take him home. And I say, clearly he has dementia. Case closed, honey. What more do you want from me? And it's like everything. None of that shit makes sense. So now she's out here saying, Tom Girardi has had multiple accidents flipping his vehicle. So has her son. He has, there's a burglar, there's a bear, there's a burglar. He's confronted them both. These doctors wanted to give him surgery, but Erica Jane, it's expensive to be me, pop star, kind of, cocktail waitress, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, says, no, I'm going to be the one to point out, not a good idea to perform surgery on a man who could have a concussion. You think no other doctor thought of that? I mean, yes, be your own advocate when it comes to doctors and stuff. But this is a lot for us to swallow. All of a sudden, she was like, honey, you are not going to go for do surgery on him. I want him dead. I mean, I want him to be okay. So she's telling us these stories. And then Kyle, oh my God, Kyle pops in. And she says, well, I had a friend that had a their mom had dementia. And when Tom was telling his story about John Wayne and high school, whatever. Do you remember when Erica and was it Erica and Rinna and Garcelle, did they all wear the same outfit? Is that the episode? And they go over to Erica's and they sit in the very formal living room, and it's like they're hearing a story from their grandpa they only visit a couple times a year because their mom makes them, so it's like, okay, yeah, tell us your story. I mean, I loved my grandpa, I loved visiting him, but I did have another grandpa. I was like, oh, we got to go to his house. So they're telling you one of his boring stories, and they're just sitting there like, ha. And Garcelle's like, I see it. What did you see, Garcelle? I would love to know what you saw, because all I saw is just a boring story from 1812. I don't know. It was like so boring. It was from 1822. And he was like, remember the rail car? And you're like, no. I remember when the engine was just, they came up with the steam engine. You're like, what? What is he talking about? And they all treated it like, yeah. Tell us more boring stories, Tom. This is so fun. This is so fun to watch. And they treated him just like some fragile grandpa. And Erica's like, do you see what I mean? He's great. The stories are so great. I love this story. And now she went from, I love this story, he's so amazing, do you see why I married this man? Do you see why I'm humping this man? To he had nothing behind his eyes when he told that story. Okay. Nothing behind his eyes. And Kyle, who is another doctor in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, heard from her friend. And then Crystal, the person who could maybe speak to this, being the only one that had a parent with Alzheimer's, is just sitting there like, Crystal's like, wouldn't she have said, I don't think Crystal said anything at that time. Okay. But they're all like, that's clear. Thank you. Case closed. No, just because Kyle Richards, who would sell her own sister and has down, for a bigger spot on a television show, says it, does not make it. That's not a case closed. Case closed. Kyle Richards knew someone that they look similar to Tom. Tom's old. Old people. I love old people. They're my favorite kind of people. Old people and pets are my favorite kind of people. Okay. And I like babies too. Okay. They're my favorite kind of people. But let's be honest. Sometimes old people tell boring stories, just like young people. But sometimes old people, they just, you get to an age, I think, where you want to relive your past because it was a time when you were young, virile, and, youth is just, we obsess about youth in this country, especially, and we just forget about the elderly, and we're like, we don't even study what happens to us later in life. There's no kind of prep for, hey, guess what? You're not always going to be young and mobile and stuff. So you probably want to make sure you have a good retirement. We got to, make healthcare a priority, all these things, because down the road, you're going to need that more. Plus, you're going to be older. Things are going to get harder. We're just like, no, I'll be young forever. Like, the more Botox I get, my legs will always work. And you're like, but not necessarily, So I think people fear it so much that we just pretend it's not there. We go, oh, no, we're not. No one's getting old. But old people get old. And once they get old, they're like, I want to tell you a story. And by that age, they don't care if you want to hear it or not, because they're like, I lived this long. I'm just going to tell you the damn story. My grandpa, who I loved to death, I didn't kill him, but I loved him so much. My grandpa Wally, he had the best stories, but he didn't have dementia. And he would tell the same stories a lot of times. And he knew it. He didn't care. He was like, you got to listen because I'm a good guy and I lived a good life. And now you have to listen to me tell stories. And he would, So no. Tom's old. He's old and he's fragile. And he's a grandpa. So now to be like, do you see his decline? I'm pretty sure you're going to decline when 40 years of you scamming people and stealing money, allegedly, is coming out. It's going to have a physical impact. You see people under stress, you are impacted. Erica looks different than she has in previous seasons due to the fact that she doesn't have, her same glam team because she can't afford it. And also stress. Oh my gosh, look at us all through the pandemic. I mean, I freaking gained stress weight. Like, stress impacts your body, the way you look, the way you feel. Tom, he not only got older since then, but he has more stress because he's getting caught and called out. So that makes more sense than now, like, he's just been so, and he might have a little dementia. He definitely might, but why now when all this stuff is coming out and you're being implicated to maybe have known. Yeah. Hi, my husband, Chell. Are you now pushing this? If you thought this man had dementia, why'd you put him on TV? That's what my husband, Chell, just said, taking advantage of him. I would do everything if I loved my husband to protect him and not exploit him if I thought he had dementia. And I would maybe, I would do a little more. Yeah. Right, Chell? Yeah. You're really my hype man today. Get her. I don't want to get her. I just want her to but she needs to be get. Pay these people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These people, Chell. Pay them. Yeah. Did you even watch the reunion, Chell? No, you don't know what you're talking about. But thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Hype man husband. Okay. Graphics Designer said, I worked with someone who told the same stories over and over, but he just likes to, oh my gosh, I know older people like that who just like the sound of their own voice. They've always been that way, but now they're old. So now they're even more like, screw you, I'm old. I don't care. I don't work no more. I'm retired. You're going to hear it all. And you know what? I'm probably going to be that old person. I will probably get old. And poor Lucy, poor Frankie, I'll just be like, guess what? My little niece and nephew. Another story. We already heard this one. Pretend you didn't. All right. One time I used to cover the Real Housewives and Big Brother on this thing called YouTube. Do you remember it? Sometimes over hundreds of people would follow me. On this particular day, 102. Pretty impressive, right? And they'll be like, not really. What's YouTube? We forgot about that, Auntie. So it's just like, Erica. So now we got, Andy's not done. So he'll take little breaks from interviewing Erica and asking her questions. But now we got 2 more parts. We haven't heard anything from Crystal. It was a brief mention this past part 2. It was like, hey, what about Lucy? Yeah, she thinks I have ugly style. Okay, cool. Moving on. And then we move on to, Dorit. Dorit had, again, quite a bit of problematic white lady stuff to say. Dorit she doesn't care. She doesn't want to, it doesn't seem like Dorit wants to learn. It doesn't seem like Dorit wants to get any better. It doesn't seem like Dorit wants to take any accountability for her words. She wants to be painted as the victim. She's getting bullied. She wants to use buzzwords. And it's like, nobody's bullying you. You do talk a lot. And Kyle talks a lot too. You're both annoying. In my opinion, you're both annoying. You also owe a shit ton of money and did at one point. And you were chased around, the Bahamas when you guys were there, when you were in your bikini with Lisa Rinna, and video came out of that, of someone going, how come you don't pay blah, blah, blah back what you owe them? And the house, and, Bravo and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the producers and stuff decided not to include that. And when you and PK were asked about your finances, I think it was last season or the season before, you guys decided to eat nuts or snacks during this confessional, thinking that maybe they wouldn't air it. I'm assuming that's what you guys were thinking because you were eating on camera. Okay. So I never understood. You went on a work trip for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You went to the Bahamas, and allegedly, and there's a video out there of it, that we've all seen. She's wearing her yellow bikini and Rinna's in a bikini, and this woman's chasing around. Dorit, how come you don't pay blah, blah, blah back? And Dorit's like, are you a fan? You're not a fan? Okay, bye. And then she's running from this woman. When we know that PK is out there being like, yeah, babes, I had to pay some people back too, but mine was business bankruptcy. Very different. I know that's a little Australian, but my PK is always a little Australian. But things have been swirling around about these two forever. Like, they don't own their house, maybe allegedly. I don't know. I'm not saying they're squatting, but it sounds like they know someone and they move into these houses, and maybe they possibly allegedly do maybe some renovations, or I don't know what's going on with their house situation. Okay. But there's just things that aren't adding up, and they did owe people money, and PK did have some bankruptcies. Did someone say he had like 11 or something crazy? And he was like, yeah, babes, I did. I had, like $1 billion or some crazy amount. And it's like, that's like, that's not normal. I know that these rich people is like, oh, it's normal, babes. When you go out of business, you just file bankruptcy. It's not actually that's not normal. It's actually not. It shouldn't be normal. That shouldn't be normal, that you can just wipe away and go, it didn't work. Didn't work. Just, there's no accountability. There's no responsibility on your end? Like, I would say if you had to file bankruptcy once or twice in your business, you're not good at business. You might want to stop business. You might want to just work for someone and not yourself. Because if you're constantly filing for bankruptcy, you're probably not that great at business. That's just, I'll just put it out there. Okay? I don't know. So again, we're not seeing that from Dorit. So it's again, if we're not going to see what's really happening and we're supposed to pretend that this woman has all this money and doesn't owe people and hasn't had these financial issues, we just can't, because it's out there. It's definitely out there, but they're happy that it's on Erica Jane and not on them. Yeah, Dorit never shuts up and she's never wrong. And she thinks, the worst part about Dorit is she thinks she's good at like shading or reading people. So she's like, Beverly Beach by Dorit. She's like, how many languages do you want to say that to me in? Because I speak 7. Zing. And you're like, that's not a zing, Dorit. I can tell you to shut up in 7 languages. No, pay your bills. Quit making these $32,000 dresses. But they're high end. They're high end. The average one, she said, is $6,000 to $7,000. Okay? I don't know. I think he's still Boy George's manager. I don't know what's going on with Boy George. Why? Sometimes you give your friend a job and it's hard to fire your friends, allegedly. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's weird. It's weird. After the season, it's time for Dorit to go. She was so rude to Garcelle, and she literally, you're right, Catherine, has no storyline. She's just posing for Instagram. She's like, no, you have no storyline. Nothing. What's your story? What is it? The only thing you brought to this season was PK saying it was funny when PK and Mauricio were talking about all the Tom Girardi stories that Erica's sharing about the flip in the car and the robbery and the son and the surgeries. And when PK was like, go save the ankle, babes, go save the ankle. What is he, a soccer player? Like, that shit was funny. That was funny. Hi guys. So that was funny. But Dorit, you gotta be done so. And I hear that she might just be done so at this point, because she's not learning anything. She doesn't listen. When Andy asked Garcelle, do you think Dorit answering, Dorit's one of those people who she just speaks before she's educated on anything, or she's like, I don't have to educate myself on that. I speak 7 languages. It's like, but you actually should educate yourself on race relations in the United States, especially if you think you're going to speak on it on a national television show and platform. I'm sure you didn't want to. I'm sure they're all pissed that Garcelle, you can't convince me that they weren't all pissed, and that Lisa Rinna didn't. Lisa Rinna, for sure, in my opinion, was pissed that Garcelle brought race up on Beverly Hills, because these women don't want to be inconvenienced. They don't want to have to talk about it. That's their privilege. They don't ever have to talk about it if they don't want to. They don't have to talk about it. They don't have to talk to their kids about it. They don't have to do anything. They can get on social media, make the occasional Black Lives Matter post, and then move on with their lives. And that's how they wanted it to stay. Garcelle comes into the picture, and now they have to answer to different entitlements and privileges and things like that. And they're like, oh, no, we're so open for that. We're so open. But they're not. And Dorit's the type that just speaks out of pure ignorance and thinks she's doing so. My mother's best friend's orthodontist is Black. What? Do you realize you just pulled the oldest bigoted defense in the book? I have a Black friend, and you didn't even have the Black friend. Out of all the friends, you couldn't even say it was your Black friend. You had to say it was your mom's Black friend. You don't have one Black friend? Shut up. You just listen to Garcelle. So when Andy said, do you think it's because she doesn't listen? Garcelle's like, I don't think that is. Garcelle's being way too nice to these women. And I know that Garcelle is riding a very fine line here. If she goes too hard on them, they're going to point out she's an angry Black woman, just as Andy was saying that, talking about with the women this season. So unfortunately for Garcelle, she does ride that line, and it sucks that she can't just be like, you all sound dumb. You sound dumb. I hope you are not raising your kids to be this dumb. You sound dumb. But she can't. She has to be like, well, I don't think. No, it's exactly because Dorit didn't listen. It's because she's just like, oh, no, don't even talk to me about that. It's the same way that Sutton, I know we all say Sutton is like our hero right now because she's calling out Erica Jane. But remember, Sutton was still Miss, I don't see color. I'm not doing this. Why aren't you doing this? That's your privilege that you can just say you don't want to do this. That's a privilege you have. That's a white privilege you have that you can go, I'm not talking about race today. I'm not doing it, because you can do that. But Crystal can't do that. And Garcelle can't do that. And there are Americans, tons of Americans who can't do that. So that's your privilege. Recognize it. And you think it's an inconvenience for you today. Imagine your whole life. You have to talk about it. It affects you and your standing in the world and the way people treat you and how you're looked at and all kinds of things. So educate yourself just a freaking little bit, ladies. This just pisses me off about these chicks. So as much as I like that Sutton's calling out Erica, I don't forget that Sutton was the one that's like, oh no, I'm not, I'm not, no, don't see color, don't, you know. So hopefully, you know, hopefully she, I don't know, learns from that or something, you guys. But I still, yes, like little like microaggressions, like Luann, Dorit equates speaking a few languages to education, which is American elitism. Exactly. And when Ebony is actually like, no, if we're talking education, I have the highest education level. That's all Ebony was saying on the Real Housewives of New York. And Luann's like, oh, no. And that, my friends, is literally, people get so mad at me for saying this. And by people, I mean a lot of white ladies. Not you guys, different, not my pumpkin spice babies, but get mad at me. But it literally is ingrained in us, whether consciously or subconsciously, to believe that there's no way that, like, if there's Ebony and Luann has been conditioned, again, whether unconsciously or consciously, that she is in a sense better or higher up than Ebony is. You look at the way that Luann acts. These are things you have to be cognizant of and you have to talk about so that you don't behave this way. And it's just and it's okay, instead of being like, I don't want to talk about it. Everyone's equal. Everyone's fair and we're all human. If anyone goes directly to that and they want to go, oh God, you know, that's their own self being uncomfortable. And that means they don't ever want to learn or grow from this stuff. And that's their own problematic shit. It's okay to recognize the inequity. It's okay. It's actually really good, you know, to learn from that and to talk about that and to talk about privilege and to, you know, discuss race relations and discuss racism and things like that. Those are things that should be able to be discussed without people freaking the frick out, without white people freaking out about it. And these housewives, they freak out. The fact that Luann thought because she married some dude who was a count and she lived in Italy, that she is more educated than Ebony, who has all the degrees and the standing and the jobs to prove, just shows that she does think she's better than that the most educated Black woman there, she still thinks she's more educated than. What's the difference? I wonder if she would do the same to a white woman with the same credentials Ebony has. I don't think she would. I've never seen her do that. She does think she's superior to everyone. She does. But I will say that it's something that, you know, white women in America, it's like no one's blaming you, but it does become our fault if we don't start recognizing, talking about this, and we're not able to have conversations about it, and we get super defensive. Then it becomes our fault. But there's a lot of things that are structural, that are systemic, that are conditioned into us that we don't recognize until somebody points it out, or until, you know, you are friends with someone who is not white and you are able to see their experience. But to get so defensive like these women do, it's just like, that just shows you don't want to grow. You don't want to be an ally. You don't want to help shit. You don't want to make anything better. You just don't. Because you wouldn't have that kind of reaction. You wouldn't have this defensive reaction. No one's saying you're a horrible racist. We're just saying racism isn't just like holding up a Confederate flag saying, I hate these people. There's aversive racism. There's just so many levels to this shit of bigotry and racism. And it's okay to talk about it. It doesn't divide us more. It definitely does not divide us more. What divides us more is pretending it's not there, yet the system shows us every day that it is in fact there. But just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I don't know. These ladies piss me off. It's unconscious. Yes. And that's a big part of the issue. So be conscious of it and just don't be defensive. And I feel like Dorit's oh no, instead of just listening, like, wow, what is Garcelle saying? What does she mean? What's her experience been like? Because it's definitely different than mine. If Dorit is this educated woman in America, she realizes that Garcelle's experience in this world is different than hers. And especially her experience in the United States is different than hers. So her not recognizing that and immediately wanting to just speak and go, oh no, oh my children, see what's great about me and my family is my children are surrounded by, I think she said, dark-skinned people who work for us. And then Garcelle was like, so the only people of color you're around are people that work for you? Oh, no. And then she didn't even understand that part. She's like, I have white people that work for me too. No, she was saying, don't you have any people of color who are your friends? You only surround yourself with people of color that you employ and pay? I mean, she didn't even take the time. She didn't even take the time, okay? Garcelle has a career to actually protect and keep intact, unlike the others. Even Project Runway this season deals with racism. Yeah. This is America. Ebony was getting too preachy too fast, too soon. Yes. And she didn't know well. Yes. There's a lot of reasons why ratings plummeted for New York, but I will say that it's such a hard. I feel like it's a different pressure that when you're the first Black woman on a franchise, there's like a crazy amount of pressure. Like people want you to address it, but don't address it too hard, but don't address it too soft. So we're saying Garcelle is too soft on it, Ebony's too hard on it. It's like, will it ever be enough? I kind of liked that Ramona's life and her drinking was ruined every time because Ebony made her talk about race. I loved it. I kind of like that. I don't care. For sure, preachy. For sure. But I love anything that's going to ruin Ramona's time. Okay? I love it. Okay? Because Ramona is the picture of white privilege and ignorance and all the crazy stuff. You know? Ellen says, the problem is that us white people need empathy for others to understand racism. And some just don't have empathy for others' experience. Yeah. Racism is built into the system yes, in every way. It's complex. And that's why it's worth all the discussions. And it doesn't divide us. The better you understand someone, oh my God, you can get to a point of empathy and understanding that builds fantastic friendships. Think of all your best friendships. You know, the more you learn about their past and the more they learn about you and the more you understand, that's the basic nature of like therapy. If you've ever went to couples therapy, if you went to therapy, with a family member or something, it's get to understand, because communication issues are the downfall of most relationships. It's just basic not being able to communicate with each other. Well, this person you find out in therapy communicates this way because of their background and all the experience they bring to the table. So why are we expected then to just shut out another person's experience? They bring that all with them. The same way Dorit brings her experience, Crystal's going to bring hers. And those are going to have an effect on how you relate to the world, how you talk, how you respond, all those things. So you definitely, like, having a conversation with Dorit, instead of going on the defense, should have just maybe shut her mouth and listened, and then, asked maybe questions, tried to understand, just hearing Garcelle's story, just trying to be really open to, like, yeah, what is that like? Beverly Beach, is it like having a swimsuit company with bikinis? Is it like, no, okay, it's not like that. Okay. Because I struggled early in my bikini days. No, it's different race. Okay. A little different. But just that is how we understand each other better, is when we kind of know where people are coming from, and we know then their moves make more sense and their reactions make more sense. But if we just go, no, that doesn't exist, I'm not talking about that, that's going to get everybody in trouble. The problem is we're told you can't talk about religion, you can't talk about race, you can't talk about any of these things or they'll ruin relationships. Well, why? If you both are coming into it like open and willing to listen to each other, why will it ruin it? Wouldn't it make it better? I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, Ebony disrupted the hell out of Ramona, and it was beautiful. It was freaking beautiful. I don't care. It was beautiful. That was fantastic. And then when Heather Yummy Tummy came in, like, I am so woke. Look at me, I'm the wokest of the woke. And then it's like she did the number one microaggression. Like, you know what, Ebony, you're so articulate. Go girl. And I was like, who would have thought the holla girl, the fake woke lady? Who was like, I understand Black people. I worked for P. Diddy. You understand that Black people, like P. Diddy doesn't represent all Black people. You realize that, right? Like just because you listen to a certain genre of music that tends to have more Black performers in it, that's not all Black people identify with P. Diddy. Just the same way as not all white people identify with, I'm trying to think of Eric Clapton, he seems to be a legend. Michael, what's the guy that was married to, he had like the long hair. What is his name? Does he play a flute, a clarinet? Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I thinking of the When a Man Loves a Woman guy? I don't know. We don't all relate. We're not all like, oh, okay. It's the same. It's like a Black person going, no, I understand white culture. Okay. I understand. Not that I'm not saying that there's like a white culture, but I understand all white people because I listen to Pink. So hello, duh. Michael Bolton. Yes, thank you. Michael Bolton. Like, yes, I get it. Actually, that would probably be more on brand than P. Diddy representing all Black people. But that's how Heather was. She was like, holla, holla. Ebony, like, you guys be woke. That's the problem with even like saying you're woke. A lot of like my haters want to be like, Jolene's this fake woke lib, TARD, which I'm like, oh my God, that's problematic in itself. No, just because I'm progressive. I'm not even really like liberal. I think I'm progressive. I try to be. Oh, that's what I like. But they want to like be like, you this fake woke chick. Because it's like Heather Thompson's, women like that who are out there being like, I never said I'm a perfect ally. I never said I know everything. I just want to continue learning. I don't want that to stop. I don't want the communication to stop. I don't want to shut myself off. I want to recognize my privilege in the world. If that makes me a horrible woke idiot, then so be it. So be it. I don't care. Because anyone who would say that, I feel like they're just completely shut down from any learning or conversation or growth. So whatever. But the Heathers who's like, no, I got this, ladies. I worked for P. Diddy. Okay. Holla. Oh my God. Ebony, you're so articulate. That is the most obvious microaggression of all the microaggressions. And if you say you're Miss Microaggression and you know all of it, which Heather, she talks, then you would know that. You would know that. Yeah. Well, Lana Del Rey. Yeah. I listen to Lana Del Rey, so I know all about white people. For real. For real. Okay. So we have the Garcelle, and then we have we have the Dorit, sorry. And then we have very little about Crystal. The first episode we had Rinna pretending she wants to be Garcelle's friend. She doesn't. She's mad at Garcelle. She's mad Garcelle came into the show. She's mad Garcelle is calling her out on her bullshit. She's, all the other ladies are just like, Rinna. Then we had to talk about Rinna's daughter. So Rinna's storyline is Harry Hamlin Sauce, his emergency plan if there is a global event, a catastrophic earthquake, things like that. His death plan. I don't know what it's called. You guys know what I'm talking about. His sauce and Amelia's her relationship with Scott Disick and his dick. That's your storyline? What else? I mean, Rinna, this is getting bad. This is getting really bad for Rinna. This is not enough. And just hating on Garcelle and caping for Erica. That's not enough. And then so we had to hear more about Scott Disick and Amelia Grace or whatever her name is. Their relationship, it's creepy. Yeah, it was creepy. Scott Disick's fascination with these with these teenage girls, because 19 is still a teenager, is creepy when you have 3 children and you're, what is he, 40? It's creepy. It's creepy. It's Tom Girardi level creepy. It's creepy. And I would, as a mom, I'd be like, please don't. And Erica's like, honey, I didn't have a problem. I was that girl. I was that girl. And you're like, and look at how well it worked out for you. So maybe you should have a problem with it now. Okay. And not thinking Harry was the last straw, Garcelle. Amanda said, I don't know if you're being funny or serious. Rinna stresses me out, Danny says. If any of them are Illuminati lizard people, my money's, well, I just watched American Horror Story double feature, and Rinna's definitely going to Area 51 very soon. And she's going to live there. And she's going to be helping them make the hybrid alien babies. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's going to live forever. And that's what's going on. Yeah. I think Rinna's going to start marketing that. Oh my gosh, for sure. For sure. It's everywhere. Harry sauce, Harry sauce, Harry sauce. The most likable thing about Rinna right now is Harry Hamlin. And she knows that. Yeah. So graphics designer says, I didn't realize Rinna was literally sitting on Garcelle's lap. I wasn't paying attention after she got up. And Dorit said that it was to show her outfit. Yeah, Dorit turned to the side to Chris like, she just wants to show her outfit, you know. And I think, and for her to say, even Harry was like, what's wrong with Garcelle? What's going on with Garcelle? Oh my God. I don't know why my Rinna impression sounds like Jerry Seinfeld, but that's how I always hear her. It's like, what's wrong with Garcelle? Oh my God. Like, what's the deal with Garcelle? What is the deal with Garcelle? Did he say that? Or what's the deal with you, Rinna? How come you have so few loyalties? You know? And, oh, God. It's just like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So, yeah, Manning's like, I'm shady. She's so, well, if you're shady, that's exactly what Garcelle has been saying. You're shady. And Garcelle says, I'll never bring up the Denise thing again. I'll never bring up. But Garcelle's like, I think you did Denise dirty. I think she did too. We all think she did Denise dirty. You know? It's weird. It's so weird. Erica says, I don't even believe Amelia and Scott were really dating. I think it was all about publicity and it didn't catch as much as they anticipated. I think they were humping. I don't know. I peeped the Instagram to see she was at his house, like in her underpants, and they're posting pics. But I mean, I can see that, but he just has a history. He was with Lionel Richie's young daughter, Sophia Richie, forever. It's creepy. It's just so creepy to me. Like, why? It's creepy. There's nothing more I can say, but it creeps me out. Rinna peaked dancing on the table. This show is bad for her image now. Her social alcoholism has completely lost its social, Danny says. Yeah, the dancing on the table at Andy's baby shower. I used to think early on, I was like, oh my God, Rinna is the perfect housewife because she'll do anything. But then I'm like, oh no, Rinna is the least perfect housewife because she'll do anything. You have to have some scruples. You have to have some loyalty somewhere because we're watching these women and their friendships and their moves. And if we feel like you don't even have a loyalty, like who does she have a loyalty to? Remember when she was making those shady comments? She's like, I'm shady, honey. She was making these shady comments about her daughter and her maternity dress. Oh, it probably fits my maternity dress. What did that mean? I'm paraphrasing, but that was a weird comment to make to daughters and one who has had an open eating disorder. Very strange. Very strange. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that to a young woman. So then on the second part, we see some Kyle and Kathy moments, which I'm excited to see anytime, Kathy's around this season. I have been enjoying her. I wonder how it'll be second season, if she'll fall into a second season slump. But we do see that Kathy has a lot of pain and trauma surrounding the death of her mother. And this has been a point of contention with she and Kyle for a long time because Kathy wanted to paint a much more private picture of her mother and their life and kind of, hide Kim's alcoholism. And Kyle definitely called it out. And as an alcoholic myself and having parents who are alcoholics, I understand Kathy's want. It is in the alcoholic family structure and dynamic to protect the alcoholic at all costs and often at the cost of which isn't good to them. But unfortunately, that's kind of how the system works when you're in an alcoholic family or any kind of addiction. And I don't know about, I've heard stories about the mother and it seemed very stage momish and things. And I do think, there's always repercussions when you put young children in the Hollywood eye and you make them child stars. It's always very, very dangerous. And I would never do that. If I had a child, I would never want that for my niece or nephews. I just, no. Kids don't belong in Hollywood, in my opinion. I really don't. I know people who are like, no, my kid wanted this. It's like, but you're still the parent and you should pick what's best for them and tell them when they're older, that's when they can go. So Kim and Kyle and even Kathy were kind of, for lack of a better word, pimped out to Hollywood very young. And as children, and it's a typical Britney Spears situation. I mean, these kids never come out as adults unfazed. There's always some kind of demon, something that follows them. And with Kim Richards, it's tragic. It's very tragic that she was kind of it's not a normal dynamic to have the child be the breadwinner and to put all that pressure on the child, or for the child to be around all these adults. I just was watching the Brittany Murphy documentary that's on Hulu. And oh my God, just like, again, tragic. And to not go to high school and to not be around your peers and to not pick up these social things that you learn from school and being with your peers and just living a kid life, you miss out on a lot. And those deficits can affect you later in life and affect your relationships and your discernment and, who you decide to surround yourself with. So it can be really, really, really dangerous. And I think Kathy and Kyle and Kim are kind of a product of this. And Kathy definitely wants to protect this. And Kyle's more like, does it sell? Let's sell it. And so she, when she did American Woman, which was loosely based, on her mom and in the 70s, and Kathy didn't like it. And, they've talked about not talking for 10 years and there's always been like friction, but you always see, there was just a clip that came up with Kim, and she was on a red carpet and a reporter was asking, will you come back to the Real Housewives? And she was just like, I don't know. And then Kathy, you can see Kathy behind her watching her, and she comes in to kind of swoop her away. It's that protective. I know that feeling as being the child of an alcoholic, of wanting to protect that addict from saying, doing, judgment, something bad. You just want to, like, the shame you carry as a family member or a child of alcoholism and also an alcoholic yourself. It's great. It's a great shame that you do carry. And it's a huge weight you carry. And I see that Kathy's still kind of maneuvering and, definitely watching over Kim in a way where Kim's at an age where this shouldn't be happening. By this time, I don't know the state of Kim's sobriety. I hope the best for her. And I don't want to ever think that, like, I can say, but I mean, I don't know. I like Kim Richards. I liked her on the show, but I don't think the show's best for her and her sobriety. As much as I want to watch the three sisters on here interacting, I don't know if that's best for Kim. You know what I mean? And so Kathy has this and it's crazy how also with alcoholic families, the codependence is crazy. And it looks like there was a lot of codependence because obviously losing your mom is like, there's like nothing else like that. So I've been told, so I saw when my mother lost her mother, when my dad lost his mom, when I've had friends lose a mom. Again, this is all, based on if you have a good relationship with your mom, but it's still, your mom. So there's, they say that, and they said that on Survivor, the recent episode when Shan, one of the tribe members, was talking about losing her mom, and the other young woman, Liana, was like, there's nothing like losing a mom. And there really isn't anything like losing a mom. So this is a pain that she'll carry the rest of her life, but there's a certain protection she still has over her mom all these years later, and then over her sister, that I think has a lot to do with an alcoholic family dynamic. I don't know if their mom was an alcoholic. I'm not sure. We know that Kim struggles with addiction and stuff. So it just seemed like, I don't know. There was a part of it that I really related to on a personal level of coming from a family of addicts. That I was like, ooh, I know that pain Kathy feels to a point. And that protection, I guess, that she's trying to do, but it's not doing any service to her. Her carrying that weight and all that, and trying to be so protective of her mom's image and not maybe trusting Kyle. I don't know. There's more there. Maybe we'll hear more about it in her second season. Maybe we will. Terry says, when I was a kid, I had to interpret for my mom, and that was crazy pressure. Kids should not have adult responsibilities. Kid actors, I can't imagine, right? DGF says, Kim Richards adds Prudence in Nanny, and the professor was iconic, and Kim never went through an awkward phase. She was the ideal 70s, 80s. Oh my gosh, the hair, the long, beautiful hair. I mean, it was, yes, Kim was everything back then, and still, so that's maybe what it is. In the Family Gourmet says, very codependent, protective. Yes, I think so. I think the secrets make you sick. They do. There's that saying, secrets make you sick, and the codependence and the alcoholism is, if you're in an alcoholic family or this dynamic at all, your number one goal is to protect the alcoholic. Whether it's said or unsaid, that is something that is, unfortunately, and it puts a lot of pressure on family members. It puts a lot of pressure on spouses and kids and family members. And the alcoholic's number one is to protect the addiction. So you're all working when you're in an unhealthy alcoholic situation and you're not, in like Al-Anon or processing or therapy or whatever, or in recovery, it's a very unhealthy cycle then that you're in of just protecting the secrets. And there's so much shame around addiction. There's so much shame. And, so that's what it looks like to me when I watch this family, is I see a lot of fear of secrets coming out, a lot of that going on. Let's see. Susie says, if Rinna's lips get any bigger, she won't be able to open her mouth, which would be awesome. I wouldn't doubt it if Kyle's an alcoholic, just highly functioning, could be highly functioning. I don't know. I have no idea. I was a very highly functioning alcoholic. I didn't have DUIs. I didn't get arrested. I probably could have, but I didn't. I held a job the whole time. I never got fired for being drunk. I never drank at work. I was a high functioning alcoholic. And I think there's a lot of things that are misunderstood about high functioning alcoholism. And that's why it's not really called out, or it's just like, they just like to have a good time, or they just like this. But you know, deep down, whether it's something that's negatively affecting your life or the lives of others, but it's that if you're willing to have that sobering moment and to get sober. And, but yeah, I think that's the one thing is like, we see the Lifetime movies. We see like the parents are alcoholics, and so they must be abusive and mean, and I hate you. No, you can have alcoholic parents who still hold a job, who still love you, who still say they love you. But there are going to be certain things that, when you are the child of an alcoholic, the certain responsibilities that fall upon you that shouldn't at a young age. And also, the certain things you see that you shouldn't see, and it's going to have effects. And there's certain ways in which someone who's active in an addiction can't be fully present. And it's very important for parents, and people in relationships, even if you don't, have children, to be present for your partner and stuff. And alcoholism and addiction really takes that being present away. American Woman did air. Alicia Silverstone was in that show, and I didn't watch it, but it did air. And then I don't think it got picked up for a second season. So also, Kathy's daughter is a Rothschild. She has to manage how they're perceived in that social circle, no doubt, and add addiction to that. I mean, she has a lot of things, and this old school of you don't talk about stuff. Granted, she did have the whole thing with her daughter Paris, unfortunately, come out. With her sex tape being shared and all that. So, and Paris obviously being on reality TV, and what we know now about Paris being sent away to these, military camps that did horrible damage to teenagers and kids in the 90s and before, but became like a trend on these talk shows. And we're going to send you to these military schools. And we see that they're very abusive schools, and they actually did not help and do not help people. And I don't know if they I don't know if they consider themselves military schools, but like these reform camps, they would be like, hey, you're on Jenny Jones and today you're all going to reform camp. And then they come out worse than when they went in. And Paris Hilton kind of, what she did, she shared her story of that. Evelyn says, Kim and the other sisters also seem parentified, which is not a healthy way to grow up. Kids need to be kids. Yes. They're very protective of their mother and almost the parent themselves, what it seems. I think any mother who's probably pushing all three daughters, allegedly, to be in Hollywood, to make these connections at such a young age, to find these, to be in that circle. I mean, there's something going on there. That's not, I wouldn't think that would be a normal response or a healthy response for a mother. Yes, it did air. So much shame. Yes, secrets make you sick. They do. I can't take Kathy's stuff. Kathy has this thing, and I sometimes, when I'm very, very distraught, I have weird little ways I cry where it's like, do you remember Farrah on Teen Mom? I don't know if you guys remember, but when she would be really upset, she would whisper cry, and she would do this whisper while she's crying. And then sometimes I have a similar thing and I hate it because if I'm in like therapy and I'm having like a breakthrough session and I'm crying and my therapist and I almost can't like get the words out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing a Farrah from Teen Mom whisper cry. And Kathy has this little like hiccup cry. And it's cute, but you can tell that's her genuine cry. Paris got a DUI. I mean, if addiction's in the family, it's hard to escape. It becomes a pattern and a cycle. That's why it's important for, if you can get sober as a family, or just if you do have addiction in your family, just try to stay away from alcohol, drugs, because it tends to get you. Susie says, my entire family has addicted behaviors, alcoholism, eating disorders. Yeah. I mean, you're like me, Susie. We just hit the lottery of addiction and stuff. And that happens. I mean, I'm very open about my own sobriety and stuff. It's been weaponized against me by people on YouTube and other YouTubers who don't like me. And that's shitty, but that's what they do, but that's not going to stop me from being open, because I think it is important for people to be able to talk about it and not be ashamed. I'm not ashamed that I decided to get sober at 32 years old. And I wanted a better life for myself and for my husband, who was then my boyfriend. And I just wanted better all around. So no, I'm not ashamed of that. But there's been lots of allegations thrown out, even recently, saying I'm a drug addict, people trying to spin weird narratives. But good luck with that. I'm being told by people doing drugs that I'm a drug addict. It's something that's still so stigmatized and still so much shame around, but I refuse to be ashamed of it, because I think I love hearing people's sober stories. I don't want anyone to feel bad about their addiction, or if they're trying to get better. I mean, that should never be weaponized against you. Thanks, Gourmet. Thank you. Oh my God, a shame. You should be so proud. Exactly. But people think that, there's still that certain stigma that if you recognize you had a problem and you got sober and you continue to be in recovery and, that that's how it's so that, addiction is so layered and leveled and there's so many levels to it, but they want to just put these blanket stereotypes on you. See, she's an alcoholic, so clearly you can't trust her, which is just so unfair, which makes it very difficult for people to be open and honest. If anything, the people you can trust the most are the people who have been down the rabbit hole of addiction and got out on the other end and are choosing a better life. Because not only have they seen it all down there, but now they're choosing to be like awake to things and be better. And you've had to come to terms with a lot of things. Those are the people you should trust the most. But there's a lot of active addicts out there who, to protect their own addiction, they because they, you never want to call out anyone's addiction and stuff like that. You don't want to be the one to, I mean, if they're your family members and you're having an intervention, yeah, but it's hard to be like, Kim's using right now. I don't know Kim. I don't want to do that to Kim. I don't know. I hope she's sober. That's it. That's all I know. I don't know anything. I know nothing. There's no underlying meaning of that. But as addicts, we do kind of see each other. So there's certain things we pick up on and we see because we've been down the road. And that's why that's why you'll hear from sober people, a lot of the people they partied with, either they choose not to hang out with them anymore because it's too hard for them. But if you do try to keep like a relationship with friends that you had during your addiction or during your drinking days or whatever you're recovering from, they don't want to be around you anymore because they're afraid you're seeing their addiction or you're going to call out their stuff. So that happens. I had friends that were like, well, I should say friends who were like, call me when you're off the wagon, which meant like when you start drinking again, call me. And I never talked to, I had a neighbor. We were very close. We partied all the time. We had fun. But I realized that she was a party friend. But I thought we were real friends. But then again, I was drunk. So, and I never talked to her again. And she like blocked me on social media and that was the end of that. So that's kind of what happens. There are changes that need to be made. Thank you, Leslie. Intergenerational, yes, trauma gets passed from one generation to the next until someone gets, I'm telling you, that is the most annoying, frustrating is the intergenerational trauma. I wish so much that mental health and things like that had been promoted to a lot of like boomers and then boomers' parents, the greatest generation, and we'd be in a better place now because there's so much trauma you see from like parents and things they had to go through from their parents and different trauma that they weren't allowed to talk about. And therapy was so stigmatized and mental health, don't even mention anything. I mean, this is back in the day. I had a great aunt who they were doing shock therapy on, that like my mom's aunt. And that's crazy to think that's not that long ago. So a lot of that, it carries with you. So there's been many times in my family I've been like, if we would have just processed the trauma you had from your childhood, then it wouldn't fall on me. And now it'll fall on this next generation, which is always, I mean, for me, I'm always going to want the best for my family. I love my family. And I'm always going to want everyone to just be sober. Everyone asks like, what's your one dream, Joleen? If you have one dream, it's not, can I be famous? It's not, can I have a Netflix special? It's not, I can have all the money. It's that my whole family, the people I love, my core, would all be sober. That's my dream. That's honestly 100% my dream. I don't know if that'll ever come true. And I have no control over that. That doesn't stop me from trying. But it also can be very hurtful. But that is, honestly, that's not to get like too personal, too late. But that is my dream. That's my dream for my family because I want the best and I want the cycle to stop and I want it to be better for the next generation of my family, to break that habit. That is honestly my dream. You guys, we are getting really personal on a Saturday. This is fun. DGF, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The ones who managed to gain sobriety will apologize to you. Yeah, I mean, they might. It takes so much strength to recognize the issues, face them, works to better your life and those you care about. Hi, dear Dana. Speaking of positivity and someone you can go subscribe to who just talks about like good stuff and cleansing and beautiful things. Dear Dana is that. Yes. Yep. Admitting is the first step to recovery. Unfortunately, I don't believe in therapy. Well, you have the right to, whatever your therapy is. I think therapy can be found in lots of different ways, the same way sobriety can. Not everyone's going to go an AA route. Not everyone's going to need to go to rehab, recovery. When we speak of higher power, not everyone's going to believe in a God. If you believe in the damn ocean, then that's your higher power. That's something that was taught to me early on. If the grass, if the your eyebrows, whatever that higher power is, just something to have. But there's different paths and there's different sobriety. There's California sobriety. People get sober, but they're like, I got a little weed to keep me sober. And if that's what does it for you and works for you, then that's what works for you. I try not to be too judgmental because I don't like when people are like, well, technically, like the real rule book, I respect them, but I also don't. I feel sometimes that there's like pressure. It's like, do you go to meetings? Do you do this, do that? And you're like, whoa. Because there are people that then can get addicted to the process of getting sober. It's real weird. It's a complicated. Or addicted to helping, So there's a path for everybody. If traditional therapy isn't your thing, then find out what works for you. Sobriety isn't enough, though, yes, that's true. And that's why it is important to either find your way of therapy. For me, I was already in like therapy, weekly, sometimes more at the time of getting sober, which without that and without being with like an addiction specialist, someone who specialized in addiction and therapy, it would have been a lot harder for me, I think, to get sober. Because you have to get to underlying trauma, why you drink, why you do this, why you do this. There's a lot of things to discover about yourself. You are a good human, dear Dana. Do you? But I love paying someone to watch me cry. Right? Oh my God, you guys, therapy, if you haven't done it, it's amazing because you literally can just, that person has to listen to you and watch you cry. It's kind of like marriage. I have a joke about that. But your spouse then has to put up with that too, because they signed a legal document. And divorce is expensive. But it is great to get like an outside. I've had some, I was gonna say sextastic, fantastic and sextastic therapists. I don't think I've ever had a guy. Maybe when I was in high school, when my parents were first like, she's going through something, and then they just were like, here's some Zoloft, and it made me so sick. I've never liked Zoloft. And but they just put me on, I think, medication right away. And I was like, ooh. But other than that, I've always chose women for my therapists. I've had some great ones. I've had some ghost me, or they just got really busy and then they kind of forgot about me. So, and finding a good therapist is kind of like finding a good relationship. You gotta take some time. The first couple might not be your cup of tea, just like anything, just like friendship, just like relationships, just like dating. You gotta try a couple, Yay! Short Stacks, I just celebrated my 4-year this month. That's so amazing, Short Stack. That is so cool. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Amazing. That's a huge, huge amount of time. Yes. Problem with addiction is it's so easy to transfer. Oh my. Well, what I learned through lots of things, but a lot of therapists and addiction specialists is we tend to, as addicts, will go to sugar. Sugar becomes our new addiction, because that same thing that stimulates our brain with addiction, whether it's like drugs, alcohol, whatever, sugar has that component, because they say that sugar has a similar effect on your brain than like cocaine does, that dopamine. And it's just that I was finding myself through the pandemic going out to Walgreens to get trolleys, like I was going to, score a bag of something, but I was scoring a bag of trolleys, and I went to Walgreens like late at night. They're like, hey. And then when the lady was like, oh, I remember you, I was like, dang, I got to find a new Walgreens to get these damn trolleys, these chewy, hard on the outside, chewy on the inside candies. They're my go-to sad candy. And the pandemic obviously was a time where it was so stressful and everything's up in the air and what's going to happen. And I just started like I didn't have the normal resources I would pull from in my sobriety tool belt, if you will. So I just fell to something that could give you that immediate gratification, which food in a lot of ways. So when people are like, food's not addicting, food is a drug and it is addicting. And the problem with food is it's everywhere and it's legal and it's acceptable, but yet we shame the hell out of people for gaining weight, but they put everything in the stuff to make us all gain weight. So yeah, Zoloft was not, I hated Zoloft. I also hated, what's it called? Lexapro. I gained 20 pounds on Lexapro. That's one thing I don't understand about antidepressants. I'm already depressed. Now you want to make me gain weight? I'm going to get more depressed. But Lexapro does work for some people, like really well. And they're like, I'm willing to put up with the weight gain. I found that, what's mine? Prestique. I think my antidepressant is Prestique, and I do like Prestique. I like it a lot. If only those who hurt us would indefinitely apologize to us for their wrongs when they find sobriety. We have to keep it real. We have zero expectations. An apology can be found in actions. Envy, that is very nice. And definitely apologize to us for their wrongs when they find sobriety. Yeah. There are a million triggers out there. Yes. Comfort candy. Oh my God, comfort candy. Yeah, and you need food to live. So you can't just give up food. I mean, some people do. I lived in LA. Some people give it up. But you can't. Leslie says, my husband's family all struggles with addiction. And if you could wish for anything, it would be for them all to be healthy. It's so hard. Congrats to all who are working on your, it's honestly, it is, that will always be my hope for my family. I ordered a box of Twix during lockdown and a Costco side bag of Doritos. I was in a panic. I shared though. I wouldn't judge you if you didn't share. I wouldn't judge you. Shan says, I'm on Lexapro, even though that's not what it's called here in Canada. I'd much rather have this extra weight. Yes, exactly. I have friends who are like swear by Lexapro. I didn't feel like it was the best for me anyways. So I was on it for a while, gained 20 pounds, and I was like, I'm done. I had a similar reaction on Zoloft, and Zoloft also made me like, could be though, when I was on Zoloft, I was drinking. So mixing that, oh my God, mixing antidepressants and alcohol, you feel like shit. You really do. But I've heard super good things about Lexapro, and not everybody gains weight on Lexapro. I don't want to completely shit on Lexapro because it helps so many people. But my experience was I didn't like it. I did not like it. But I have good friends, one being Shan, who swear by it. So there you go. I need to do so many things every day to stay in a good mental space. Meditation, exercise, emotional work when needed, EFT, journaling. For some of us, mental health. Yes. It's not just this. That's why I hate those damn t-shirts. They're like, choose happy. F you. If I could just choose, you think we wouldn't just all choose happy if it was some damn choice where you just go, I'm happy. But some of us aren't given that, I would say most of us don't have it where we just wake up like, we're so happy. There are things you have to do. You have to be an active participant in your happiness. Also, happiness isn't a constant. Throughout the day, you're going to feel lots of emotions and things, and that's okay. It's when you fall into one that it might be an issue. Like if you're always like, imagine if someone was always happy. I'm so happy. You'd be like, this dude is weird. Weirdo. You're going to have a range of emotions throughout the day, and that's okay. Not saying now if it's manic or things like that, that might be something you want to go talk to someone about. But there are other emotions we go through, and you're not always going to be happy. It's life. Things are happening, but we just have this choose happy. Be kind. Okay. Yes, I do like the be kind because I do think you can be kind, but to choose happy is very presumptuous. Like I'm just choosing to be pissed off. Like I'm not. I'm definitely not. Erica Jane is on Lexapro, allegedly. That's, I think, what she said. And she said she really likes it. Lexapro is very effective. It's been shown to be very effective for people with depression and anxiety. I wasn't a fan. I just wanted an antidepressant where I didn't gain weight. I never lost my Lexapro weight. I don't know. Just me, Madison said, I'm addicted to the hard strawberry candies. Only the ones from the Dollar Tree. Is it the ones where so they're wrapped like a strawberry and then you suck on it, and then once you get to the chewy part, it's chewy on the inside? Because those are really good. I'm going to the store to buy me some, right? I would go buy my Happy. Sometimes I got to go to TJ Maxx, okay? On Sundays, sometimes I have to go to TJ Maxx and see what's out that's new. Because if you guys don't know, TJ Maxx like restocks every day. And the TJ Maxx by me is fire. It is fire. The one in LA, not so good. Not so good. I think there was the one that Erica Jane was at. There's Marshall's, TJ Maxx. Is there one in the Beverly Center? I can't remember. Those weren't fire. The one out here, fire. I love my TJ Maxx. I go there. I pop in my favorite podcast. I walk the aisles, whether I buy anything or not. I'm just in a happy space. That's a good thing for me. I have my own time, listening to stuff. Sometimes it's YouTube things, and I'm just shopping like, this is fun, this is great, and that works for me. I love to see their new seasonal decor because I'm a fancy lady. Okay, I had a feeling those were the strawberry candies because those are memorable. Yeah, Starbucks. Some people it's Starbucks. I had Starbucks this morning. Yes, I did. I had a venti. That's a big one. Pumpkin cream cold brew, which I think this thing is like 500 calories. Okay. But today I said We're going venti. We're going venti, Joleen. You're doing intermittent fasting. We're going venti early. We'll stop eating later. I'm going to choose happy and make a hot bowl of oatmeal with what's pet milk? Butter and sugar. What's pet milk? DGF. What is pet milk? Oh my gosh. Those strawberry candies remind me of elementary school, right? And Werther's. Werther's remind me of grandparents. Jolly. Oh, Jolly. But here's the thing, Erica. There's so many times I've almost choked on a Jolly Rancher. For some reason, those slippery little things, and Mom's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Tootsie Pops. Tootsie Pops helped me when I was young and I wanted to quit smoking cigarettes. I just Tootsie Popped. I was like, Tootsie Popped, and I haven't smoked in like 12 years or more. So Tootsie Popped helped me. All the Tootsie Pops. It was just that oral kind of fixation and addiction. So are you planning to do, okay, so here's the thing, you guys. My new Treetopia tree is on the way. I guess we can take them off, and I do have to wrap up because me and Chell are going to go try to see if we can catch the tram up the mountain and have a nice dinner. Okay, he's probably like, damn, she said she was only going to be on shortly, and she's almost on 2 hours, but I just love you all so much. So my new Treetopia tree is coming. I'm going to have another unboxing video. I am doing a Christmas campaign with them because, I mean, you guys, we knew that they would love me, right? I mean, oops, my lip gloss. I'm obsessed with your product. They actually reached out. They're so sweet. They reached out and they were like, we showed your unboxing video to the whole team. My like influencer representative that I work with, he's super nice. And he's like, I've never laughed at an unboxing video. I had to show the whole team. And they looked at me and I was like, hire comedians. We're good. But the great thing is Treetopia is that I was already obsessed with them. I was already obsessed with their trees. So I'm really excited to do my unboxing video, but I still have my Halloween tree up. So I'm not going to probably do my unboxing video till after Halloween because I want to keep my Halloween tree up. And now I'm trying to talk Chell into, okay, so I have a little pink one that I already had before I was a lying birch Treetopia influencer. And it's like I think it's a 5-footer. Pink one. I'm going to put that behind me where the lamp is and decorate that for here. But the black one, I want to keep that one up, and my new one I want to keep up. But I want to put the black one somewhere else in the house. And Chell's like, 3 trees? And I'm like, yeah. So now when you're married, you have to like compromise. It's the worst. So now I have to talk my husband into this, like, no, why we need 3 trees. He's like, that just takes up too much room. We don't have, no, it's like, it's going to be too crazy. I'm like, no, 2 7 to 7.5 foot trees, Christmas trees. I don't think that's a big deal. And then one here in the bedroom. To me, that's normal. That is normal. That is normal. But he's like, just 2 trees. And I'm like, no, we need the black one because I want to decorate the black one for Christmas too. Because a black Christmas tree, doesn't it sound magical? Doesn't it just sound magical, you guys? I think it does. Yes, how else does one decorate a house? You need 2 trees. Okay, these are times of the Panakuchen. These are pandemic times. We all need to find happiness. These damn trees make me so freaking happy. Okay? Thank you, Brenda. All right. So Borden's sweetened condensed milk in Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is bomb. What? That is a big sentence. I need to remember that. Borden's sweetened condensed milk in Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is bomb. Okay. 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 Thanks, Evelyn. Oh, Coco, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I love my cat ears. I don't care. I might wear them past spooky season. I'm loving the money I put into cat ears, which isn't a lot. I just went to Spirit and bought all the cat ears. And they're like behind me on my little jewelry stand back there. So, yes, trees are healing. Mm-hmm. You need a tree in every room. I agree. You guys need to like talk to my husband. Okay. Maybe if you join us on Wednesdays, Married to Survivor, you can go, hey, Joleen, I'm so looking forward to seeing you decorating your black tree and your new tree. Not that I told you to say that, but I'm just saying. Maybe you want to throw it out there in the comments on Wednesday night after Survivor airs in the Eastern time zone and we go live. I'm just, again, no pressure. No pressure. Missy's going to do 4 or 5 trees. I don't know even why. I didn't think he would have an opinion about that. I feel like maybe I caught him on a day where he was like, come on. You know, you can catch your spouse or your partner on a day where they're just like, you're doing this too much. I don't know. I didn't think he'd have an opinion on it, but he did. I was surprised. I was surprised. Thank you, Rowan. And I know makeup. Thank you. It's like exactly. Oh, I love when we see the housewives really go crazy with their decorations. That's why I miss Dorinda as much as I want Dorinda to get better, because her last season she was on, I was like, oh, Dorinda, this is not a good look. I miss the Berkshires. The Berkshires, the Berkshires, and how she decorated and just how gaudy she was willing to go with her Christmas. I so happy. Like, that made me so happy. I don't care. I am going to be a weird holiday woman the rest of my life. Okay? A weird holiday woman. We all should be holiday women and men. Who cares? Yeah, Dorinda was a good, right? I want to see Dorinda back, but I don't want to see Dorinda. Dorinda was there. The drinking was getting out of hand to the point of her personality and her anger. It was a lot. So I want to see Dorinda better and healthier, but I miss the Berkshires. I mean, obviously, New York was not the same. Dorinda will be part of the Girls Trip season 2 on Peacock. Looking forward to that. Has the first one, the first Girls Trip even dropped? I don't think so. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this impromptu live. We're almost at 2 hours. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you could, please leave a comment after this video posts. It definitely helps boost up in the algorithm. We talked about everything today. It was very therapeutic. We talked about housewives. We talked about addiction. We talked a little bit about toxic YouTube. We talked about multiple Housewives franchises. We talked about racism. We talked about everything. You guys are beautiful, wonderful, lovely pumpkin spice babies. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. I am maybe thinking about going live tomorrow about Potomac, because I am friends. One of my friends, she worked on this season of Potomac. So she said she's a comedian too, and she's fantastic and amazing. Her name is Annie, and I love her. And she said she would want to come live and talk Potomac. So if you guys see a Potomac live from me, it will most likely be with my friend who worked on this past season of Potomac. So maybe we'll get a little inside scoopers with that. Otherwise, I might take it off. But next week, Nana will be back. I don't know if exactly Monday night we'll do 90 Day with Nana, but we'll do it next week. And we'll be back Friday with Married to Bravo with Nana. Yeah, Potomac is so good. It's so good. And since Busy left me and just started doing it with So Debonair, which is fine. I love them both. I've had no one to talk about Potomac with. So I've just been bothering my friend Annie, and I didn't have to bother her too much because she's actually fantastic. And I don't know what she can talk about, but I think she can pretty much talk about stuff. Yeah, we'll see. Thank you. Shout out to my mods. You guys are the best. Protect your energy, you guys. Remember, comparison is the thief of joy, and you don't have to choose happy because you can't. All right. Bye, guys.
If you like what you see,